Do you think
like last on the lunar ice rink would still be floating in space when these three galaxies combine? I think it would certainly be that way.
All express.
What? Stop! What?
I love to be completely unprepared for a
Do you think we're gonna go back to the moon and Mars and stuff, but when we get there, just put a little hockey rink out there? I mean, it's freezing in space, right?
Yeah.
And yeah.
No refrigeration is necessary. No refrigeration. Think about that.
Yeah. I mean, imagine.
Okay, 3, 2.
No, man, that's a big old boy, man.
I want to see Gomez and Palpy.
Oh, I don't know if the shoebox. I don't know if there's enough that can contain that much action. And joining us on our lines now, Grego.
On our lines, Grego,
is Mr. Al Secord, as who gave us the stat? Was it Hirschhauser?
That's now we need to have confirmation of this. Now, all right. Andy Rothstein in Long Island, New York, texted me to tell me that you're the last guy to score 50 goals in the National Hockey League without a helmet.
Yes, somebody actually told me that within the last couple of months. I had no idea that was a stat. So yeah, and survived. So.
That's interesting because I think that is. I remember as a young child in the South who didn't know a hockey puck from an actual biscuit at the time, watching. It's when ESPN didn't have all these crazy yelling at you shows. They just replayed games from before, and I remember watching hockey contests from the NHL in the afternoon and seeing guys skate around without helmets and thinking at the time, I gotta ride a helmet when I ride a bike.
Right.
These guys are getting hit. What was just kind of when that came into play? Like, what was just the general sense of the league, and like how was that received? Is the league saying, hey, you got to start wearing this? Your grandfather didn't. I've always wondered about that.
Yeah, what happened was I was drafted to the Bruins in 1978, so everybody was allowed to go helmetless at that time. And then in 1979, the league mandated new players coming in had to wear a helmet. Montreal was the actual only team that made everybody put one on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so as time went on, of course, and the helmets came more and more, especially from the European players with visors and all that kind of stuff. And then I think the last three guys in the league that were helmetless were Brad Marsh, I think Craig McTavish was the last guy, and I think I was third.
Yeah, so 1994, McTavish won the cup without a helmet. That was the last.
Yeah, there you go.
And that tracks just, when you talk about hockey players just being literally, I think the toughest guys, men and women in sports, is I digress back to, just being amazed continually with what y'all put your bodies through and all in the name of a game that you love. And obviously you've got a young man on the ice today who you're especially proud of, who's trying to, earn his name on the back of the Brahmas sweater. And so far, what are your thoughts? I mean, what have you seen these first two games that impressed you?
Talking about my son, of course, I like to do that.
Yep, I'm sure.
Well, first, I've noticed he's changed to a very recognizable number for you.
Yeah, he has. I asked him yesterday how he got it. He says the trainer texted us what number he wants, so he said I want number 20, and he got it. So I don't think he's going to give it up too easy, for the rest of the year. But yeah, the first two. My son actually. Let's go back a year ago. He tried out for dance team, ended up on the NA3. And Ryan did a fantastic job with him, getting him through where he wasn't a liability on the ice, learning the style that the Brahmas wanted him to play, learned the little plays, the little tricks, and he really came a long way. So I'm very proud of him as far as what he's done up to this point. First two games, I think he's been very solid, very sound defensively. I think once he gets the plays down and the speed, and adjust to the speed of the other teams, that he'll probably add a little more physical presence out there. Right now he's just trying to sort it out like the rest of the guys, and I can see a lot of hustle, a lot of drive. Dan doesn't put up with one shift off, so if you're not going, you're not playing. So that's really helped him to keep motivated and do his job.
Has the subject of fighting ever come up? I mean, in the NA3, you really don't. It's very rare to see a fight. And of course, in the first game here, you saw his former defense buddy from the NA3, Palfy, got in a really good tilt towards the end of the game.
Right.
Has he asked you for any advice? Because
yeah.
Look, Dad fought some pretty big heavyweights back in the day.
Yeah, well, the rules allowed it, and that's the difference between today and when I played, is they changed the rules so much that I actually think they've taken away from the game. Now you see all these new rules for the minor hockey teams. You can't ice the puck now on a penalty kill. If you throw the puck in now, they're not allowed to take up anymore. If you're on the other side of the blue line, they're going to call it offside. I thought they were trying to speed up the game. I thought they were trying to keep things moving. And then to me, now all they're doing is slowing it down. And you go to a Stars game or any NHL game and somebody has a big hit, it's almost like the whole crowd goes crazy and they're like, thank you. We came here to see some hits.
Yes.
We came here to see some fighting. And it's part of the game. And it really brought hockey into where it is today. And I actually think they're detracting from it.
I was going to say, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm fascinated by that because, again, as someone who is a younger era hockey fan but still sort of came up, I still remember quite vividly Craig Lugwood just destroying Jeremy Roenick because of a hit he had put on Madonna right before. No, it wasn't Lugwood. Excuse me. That was I'm drawing a blank. But so you hit kind of the nail on the head in the fact that, yes, player safety is obviously going to be important, but honestly, I think an argument can be made that allowing a little more physicality and the gloves to be dropped, it in your estimation, does that make the game in a weird way safer?
It does, in my opinion, especially the European players when they first came over. They were used to a little bit more stick work and a little bit more slew footing, that kind of stuff, which we never allowed in the NHL or in the junior leagues, because that's when you can seriously hurt somebody that's unsuspecting of what's going to happen. So we had our policemen, we had our unwritten rules on each team of how to play the North American game, and when these guys came over and started doing this other stuff, well then they took a beating for it. They got a punch in the mouth or a punch in the nose, and they stopped.
I think it may have been Darian Hatcher, by the way.
Darian Hatcher, that's who it was.
There we go. Yes.
Yeah, so I think it's detracted. The other flip side of that, these kids are so big now and they're so strong.
Absolutely.
Because of the off-ice, I believe the equipment hasn't stayed up with the amount of physicality because these guys are so big. So maybe it's good in one sense when these two 260-pounders come together that there are less injuries. But I still think they can somehow create rules where, hey, if it's one-on-one straight up and it's part of the game, not this two guys step out at center ice where they fight and it means nothing to the game. It's where people are reacting, dirty hit, one from behind, a stick, and then you turn around and then you stand up for yourself or a team. And I think that should still be allowed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So less injuries.
It is now. One thing I've probably asked you this before because I've known you for some years, Al. But toughest guy you ever fought, Probert, McSorley. Who's your number one guy that if you had to do it over, you probably wouldn't do it again?
Well, we didn't have a choice sometimes, so there's quite a few we want to do again. But yeah, you got to give Probert up there because he was a tough guy for a long time. I noticed when he went straight though, because he did have some issues, that he wasn't the same guy, And of course, as we age, as we get older, as the beatings come and go, the hitting, your body naturally just deteriorates and you can't do what you used to do. But he still had a lot of experience, still did well in the end. So I got to give him up there. McSorley, he was a battler right to the very end. But I got to give the number one to a guy named Dave Richter. You look him up on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
Played for the Minnesota North Stars.
Okay.
He came out of college. He was a 6'4". I heard he did like 200 or 300 sit-ups every day. The guy was a manster, I call him, half man, half monster. But he was a lefty, and we, of course, with Chicago, Minnesota rivalry, playing each other like 12 times a year, there was a lot of fights, and he was the toughest guy for me. It was lefty versus lefty and a big guy. So I remember him the most.
So is there any advice that you give Alec when, he's in a league now where fisticuffs are allowed and things? Like, what kind of advice are you imparting, especially, too, from, hey, here's what you're looking for, but here's maybe the way that I approached it, that my experience and everything I can hand to you and say, hey, maybe do this a little bit differently?
Well, I believe the game, for a guy that wants to play physical, it's just not the 1 hit, 2 hits, 3 hits. It's consistent hitting. Not dirty, just being there. And he's a defenseman. I used to play defense until they said I had no lateral mobility. but in front, I believe that the defense core have to own the front of the net. They have to own the corner. Somebody comes in, you can still give them a little shot, let them know you're there, and make them think about it. By the third period, there's maybe 3 or 4 guys in that other team that are thinking about or hesitating, not coming in quite so fast.
And they're tired, too.
And they're tired, too. But the key is to just maintain that level of intensity and physicality for the entire game. And when you do it one game, when you go back to your second and third game, because you play these teams, 10 times each, these players remember. If you're taking them off them, thinking about what they're doing on the ice, they're thinking about you. Well, then now you're doing your job. You've just made your job easier.
And anyone who was watching on Saturday evening and just was like, man, it's preseason hockey. Like, I guarantee you, there are players on this Lone Star team who remember the Mudbugs, and there's not a lot of returning players on their team, but remember the way that they came into this building and really did what you said, pushed Lone Star around a bit, and we're not shy about celebrating that. And I think you saw a little bit of that on Saturday evening as far as, hey, this is a different year, and we're going to reestablish what this barn is for our team.
Exactly, and everything is a setup for the playoffs, and everything steps up when you get to the playoffs. You get 4 out of 7 round, maybe 3 out of 5. So there's no error or no chance, or no time for any error on the ice, because it could cost you the series. So whatever you establish during the season does carry into the playoffs. And like I said, if you got 3 or 4 guys thinking about not doing their job quite as well, then that's an advantage for you. So I noticed the Mudbugs the other day, they were very strong up front. They were sticking together. They're cross-checking guys, letting them know, hey, you're coming into our territory and you're going to pay for it every time.
Strong organization with Coach Campbell and what they put together. That is just, we were talking about it on air. It's a rivalry that is full of respect, and those young men are learning just like we learned from Coach Wildfong. And Chad, I got one more question before I let you step back in and ask one there. But I just kind of want to talk about, when you have a player like Alec and you're trying to decide what's best for his future. I would imagine an organization like this one that has the ladder from NA3 all the way to NA and a strong culture. What was it about this Brahmas organization that you and Alec decided this is where we would like to go?
Well, I know Coach Dan, and him and I think, are on the same page as far as old school. And even though the game's changed so much of this open, fast hockey, there's still some basics of the physical part and, the simple things that need to be done in your end zone. And Dan is good on that. He's sound on the ice, and then he demands hard work, he demands respect, and not to take a shift off. And look how many kids he's got in school across the nation. He's got to be one of, I don't know what the stat is, he's got to be one of the top guys.
We average like 17 a year, and if you think about it, that's D1, and then everybody else will go D3 unless they just don't want to play hockey.
Right.
That's the thing.
So Dan, I know Dan's heart. He cares about his players.
Yep.
And I've coached with him from mites to high school, and I don't care if you're a mite or a high schooler or these NA guys, he demands the same intensity on the ice. It's all about winning and about learning. Respect on the ice, all that kind of stuff. He just brings the whole package, and I thought that was a great opportunity for my son. Even if he doesn't go anywhere else, whatever he learns here, he can take it to any job in the world, and he will be successful.
Absolutely.
That's what I don't know if you remember former Brahma captain Adam Hogg in our last year in the Central Hockey League. He and I were skating one morning early here, just screwing around, getting some exercise, and the Brahmas were coming on to practice after, and while the Zambonis were running around, Adam goes to the guys waiting to come out on the ice, and he goes, now you guys may hate Coach Wildfong, you may call him names, you may curse his name, you may hate him and whatever.
Yeah.
But when you're gone from here, you'll look back and you'll remember that guy gave you what you need to go on in the career.
Absolutely, and I had those kind of coaches that they were tough. I mean, they were hard on me. I mean, today, if somebody reported him, he'd probably be in jail, from the stuff they used to say to us and make us do. But you know what? The bottom line is we knew the guy's heart was in the right place. He wanted us to push us to the limits that we've never seen before. And then, again, if you take that into anything else in life, as far as hard work and respect, well, it's going to get you places,
Absolutely.
And learn how to treat people right. It just sets you up for future success, and that's what Dan does.
Well, we certainly appreciate you coming on the broadcast here today, Al, and we've got 40 minutes of hockey left. We're up 1-0. Hopefully, we'll see some old school hockey, and everybody have a good day.
And I can tell you again, from the untrained eye that I have in looking at there, number 20 has popped in a couple of. It's one of those things where you sort of watch and you go, okay, and yeah. Alec is definitely jumping out there, and I'm very excited to see that progress go throughout the season, and very excited. I'm sure you're incredibly proud and hopeful as well.
Yeah, I think if he stays on his mindset that he has, he did work hard this summer off the ice, and it's starting to come through. I see some holes in there. Of course, your dad thinks you never work hard enough, right?
Of course.
But he still listens to me. I tell him, I say, hey, I'm on your side. I'm for you.
Yeah.
And I've got the experience, and you got a great coach. Coaching staff, and you got a lot to learn, so don't be closed-minded. You might not like what you hear, but you're getting the truth, and now it's up to you to either accept it or reject it, and then suffer the consequences.
That's right. Well, Al, we'll let you get back to your seat. We appreciate the time, and the door's always open. Anytime you want to come on, you got something to say, by all means.
Anytime you want to, I'll be here.
Awesome.
Al, thank you so much. Pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
See you.
We'll be back in a moment with the second period of this preseason contest between the Brahmas and the Ice Wolves. We're after one period of play. Your Brahmas are up 1-0.
We're talking to the Admiral!
When I go to Chipotle, I'm one of those 2% of people that if cilantro's in my food, it tastes like soap. So I always have to get the white rice plain. So they have to go open it up from the back before they put cilantro and put it in there. And then I go double steak, pico, sour cream, corn, a little bit of lettuce, a little bit of cheese, and then I top it off with some sea salt and a couple of dashes of the mild jalapeno Tabasco sauce. And you always got to wash it down with a Coke. I agree 100% with your assertions that is how a burrito should be constructed. The good news it's got to be a bowl. I want to eat it with a spoon. Burritos are just too messy. I don't want to have anything falling on the Take the tortilla and rip it up and throw it in there.
But yes, how is your golf game, my good man?
I've gotten to play a little bit here over the last couple of months, a little bit more than I did last summer, obviously with COVID. It's up and down. If I play one day, it'll be a high 70s, and then if I play the next day, I'm going to hit it even better and shoot a better score. But everything is good.
That
let's talk about one other thing. So obviously, you either live in a recording studio, or you are voiceover mic. That's your website, right? Voiceovermic.com.
Voiceovermic.com. Indeed, it is. Yes.
So you do, of course, baseball, football in the fall, hockey, and then you've carved out a little niche for yourself. What are you doing? Reading audiobooks? Well, folks, write in and tell us what you think of Mitchell Big Blue Line Glass for the Lunar Ice Rink. And until then, I love you.
There you
go.
Great job. Great job.
Fuck that up. Okay.
And take two. Go.
All right, ready, man?
Anytime a cigarette, ask me for a light, and I got death to climb. Space sauce all expression. You're gonna play it. What are you doing over there?
That's a really impressive thing, bro.
Yeah, it is. I know it all.
Okay, I got it, guys. You're the best. You're the best. You're the best.
Thank
that
you,
ever
lads.
was. Love you, mean it.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Enjoy your day.
Might be a barbasol contest or something. Something about shaving your beard.
Okay. It'd be funny. I should shave it and make it 1,000 times. So like Def Leppard jeans. All right, here we go. Ready? And
yeah.
Cowboys. Okay. And take two. Go.
I know it all.
We will be vague about who we're gonna fight. Yeah, you can be clever.
8!
Brilliant!
Play us out.
I don't think it's in tune.
That doesn't matter.